What up, world? Right now, you're tuned in to Louisville's #1 urban sports talk radio show, the 35KY Sports Show with Jeff Lightsy Jr., right here on 93.9 The Ville.
And what is going on, everybody? My name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the 35KY Sports Show right here on 93.9 The Ville. We come to you every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. to bring you all the latest in Louisville football, basketball, and just anything that we have on our mind each and every single Saturday. Now, today has been a lot. It's been a crazy week in Louisville athletics, from the football team getting a dominant performance win over a top 10 team last week on Saturday, to the basketball team coming and dropping the ball against Lenoir-Rhyne. Then the IARP decision came out. And then you got a win over Chaminade to lead into the game today against James Madison, a team that was once ranked in the top 25 this year. And so we've got a lot to discuss. We also have Brian Brown, the defense coordinator of the University of Louisville. He will be talking to us. I spoke with Brian Brown yesterday. We will play that interview today right here on the show in the second part after the break. But before we get into that, we have to discuss Coach Kenny Payne and your Louisville Cardinals. Like I said, they got an 80-73 win over Chaminade the other night, but they also dropped the ball against Lenoir-Rhyne earlier this week. And the IARP came out with their decision to basically leave Louisville alone for the first time in a long time. It's been a while since we've been able to say something like that. But let's talk about the loss first. The loss to a Division II school, the loss to a school coached by former Card Eric Sullivan, the loss where Louisville only scored 47 points. Let's rewind it back. That was on Sunday. I actually was at that game, and it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch for a team to have 0 fast break points, for a team to only score 47 points, for a team to only shoot 29% from the field for the entire game and 23% from the field in the second half. There was literally only one good thing to take away from that game, and the fact that Jalen Withers has seemed to grown leaps and bounds from last year to this year. He was the only person worth talking about. He was the only person that seemed to show up. L. Ellis went 1 for 7 from the field. The team had 0, that you heard it right, 0 fast break points and 16 turnovers. L. Ellis makes 1 shot, and this was a Division II school. But Coach Kenny Payne didn't make any excuses. He didn't sit there and act like that they were the better team than show. Well, let me take that back. He did say you can't lose to a Division II school at Louisville, whether it's exhibition, regular mission, preseason, whatever. You can't lose to a Division II school because this is Louisville. This is a team that takes pride in any and everything that they do. This is a school and a program that takes pride in having an established and one of the top basketball programs in the country. And when you do something that hasn't been done in over 20 years, yeah, that's right. Louisville hadn't lost an exhibition game in over 20 years. I think it was 2000 was the last time that they lost an exhibition game. So that just wasn't acceptable. And so he wasn't happy about it. He didn't make any excuses. And the only good thing to take away was Jalen Withers' improved shooting ability, and he finished with 20 and 10. So that leads me into the game against Chaminade. And in Chaminade, you saw the pace pick up. And at Chaminade, you saw them score 80 points. At Chaminade, you saw them have a halftime lead, and they came away with an 80-73 win, even though there's still a lot to improve upon. L. Ellis led the way with 28.6 rebounds and 5 assists. You don't like the fact that your starting point guard has to play 38 minutes in an exhibition game, but that seems like that's something that's going to be a trend for U of L. If they want any form of success this year, it's going to go through L. Ellis. That's something that I noticed. That's something that if you were in the building for either one of these games, you've noticed. L. Ellis, this team will go as far as L. Ellis leads it. And that is going to be something to watch moving forward. Jalen Withers finished with 17-9. He also hit 3 more threes. Jalen Withers' improved jump shot is something I think is the biggest standout so far this season. The fact that he's able to hit that corner 3. He's able to hit that post from the top of the key 3-pointer. He's able to make open shots. Something that just quite frankly, this team hasn't been able to do consistently over the last couple of years. And so I want to I talked about L. Ellis's performance. Coach Kenny Payne actually had a lot to say about L. Ellis's performance, even though I thought it was a really good performance. No one could stay in front of him. No one could really check him the entire game. Like I said, finished with 28 points. But Coach Kenny Payne still thinks there's a lot for L to improve upon.
In spots, I thought he was great. Again, I thought there were There were points of the game where he got away from what we needed. He tried to score. I don't need you to try to score. The ball is in your hands too much for you not to get baskets. You control a lot of the things that we're doing on the court. I want more defensive intensity. I want you to take pride in that. I don't want to see a guy get whatever he got, 0. I don't know how many points he ended up with. 27? Oh, my goodness. I don't want to have to say, guys, we're going to trap him in the last 3-4 minutes of a game. I want L to say, Coach, I got him, and be solid on him and keep him in front and not let him get a basket. Again, I'll say this is new to L. L is leading now. So his actions, his emotions affect all of us. So he decides to get high, emotionally like too charged up, get low. That's affecting us. He got to be even keel and play hard and play confident and play smart. That position demands that he plays smart, because if he doesn't play smart, it affects 4 other people on the court.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. This is a different type of task asked of L. He wants him to be a leader. He wants him to be that point guard, something that L wasn't asked to do last year. And so you see that just like how I have eyes, Coach Kenny Payne has eyes, and he's with these guys every single day. He understands that this team will go as far as L. Ellis. There may be guys who might outscore L, whether that's Jalen Withers or if Mike James can ever be really consistent, because I like his jump shot, but if he can really be consistent. But Coach Kenny Payne understands that right now is a team bonding, team building thing. He's not worried about wins and losses as of right now, even though that's the ultimate thing. We know, we understand that you want to win games, but he understands that he's still building this team. What did he tell us a month ago? He said, if we were, and meaning in October, we should be at this stage in July. And so he's playing the long game. And even when L goes out there and scores 28 points, L gave up 27 points to the opposing point guard. Defense is still something that he is instilling in this team. Defense is still something he wants to hang his hat on. Defense is still something that is going to lead this team tried and true. And there's a bunch of disappointment still taking place with this team. And one of it is the fact that they've been bigger than both of these teams, both Lenore Ryan and Chaminade, and the rebounding margin is still really, really close, especially when you're not shooting that well. Coach Kenny Payne told us a while ago when we've played these clips that this team wouldn't be the best shooting team. Like they were going to shoot a lot of bricks early on. But he said we should be able to lean on our length, our size, and our athleticism to go up and get rebounds. But that hasn't been the case. 18 offensive rebounds was given to a Chaminade team that was clearly undersized compared to Louisville. Coach Kenny Payne is not a fan of that. Here is Coach talking about the lack of effort on rebounding.
I would definitely 100% say it's effort. I want to see guys literally told them, I want you to take your elbow and when that ball is in the air, put it in his chest, get him away from the basket and go rebound the ball above the rim. I don't want to see you standing beside a guy and the ball comes up and you're waiting for the ball to fall in your hands and the other guy is more aggressive than you. Basically what I'm saying is you're either the predator or you're the prey. You're one or the other. You're not going to float through. It's not just going to fall in your hands. You have to be the aggressor, predator or prey.
The predator or the prey. This is going to be great. As far as that mindset, because you got to instill it in some of these guys. Some of these guys have been kind of disappointing through 2 games. Some of these guys haven't been what we thought they would be, at least from my perspective. One of those being Brendan Huntley-Hatfield. He's part of that lack of energy, he's kind of being a prey right now. And against teams that are in the ACC, against teams that are not in the ACC rather, but when you play the teams in the ACC, the Dukes, the Syracuses, the North Carolinas, you can't go in there and be soft. You can't go in there and get out rebounded. You can't go in there and give up 27 to a guy from Chaminade. I'm sorry, that's not going to work because there's guys on Duke, on Carolina, on Kentucky that's going to be playing in the NBA. And so if you're giving up all these offensive rebounds to these Chaminade teams, if you're giving up all these points to point guards on Chaminade and on Lenore Ryan, that is not going going to be beneficial to you. It's going to be very, very much detrimental when you play a team even like Bellarmine, who's coming in here on Wednesday for the season opener. Bellarmine is a good team, even though they were gypped out of going to the tournament last year, and that's a whole nother thing. That is a really good team that's going to be coming in here looking to beat you, looking to prove a point in front of not just your fans, but also their fans right here in the city of Louisville. And so I talked about some of those disappointments, some of the really good players outside of L. Ellis and Jalen Withers. JJ Traynor came in, gave a lot of energy. He came in and was hype. He came in with some dunks. He came in making some plays, following his shots, getting rebounds. And he was the spark off the bench that actually led this team to get the win over Chaminade. They had a halftime lead. They lost that halftime lead in the second half. And then JJ, L, and those guys kind of took over, made timely plays to be able to pull it out 80-73. But for JJ and Kamari Lands both came in, gave energy off the bench, and we could see a lineup change come the first game of the season against Bellarmine. The starting five had been L, Sidney Curry, Jalen Withers, Mike James. All were in the starting five, and now we're looking, we could possibly, and Brendan Huntley Hatfield, and now we could possibly be seeing Kamari Lands and JJ Traynor inserted into the starting five and removing Brandon Huntley Hatfield and Mike James. And so the reason why I say that, not that Coach Payne actually said that the lineup will be changing, but he did say there will be punishments for those that are underperforming come the start of the season.
There will come a point where there will be punishments for things that you do on the court that aren't aggressive. There will be consequences for things that you do that we practice that can't get done in a game. I need those guys to believe that they can take on any bigs in the country, all three, and dominate them. I need them to believe that. I don't need them getting in a game and saying, okay, I'm turning on the light switch. There are no light switches. You are the light switch. It has to be on the second your feet hit that floor, whether that's a practice, whether that's a workout, whether that's a game. No difference. I need that from them. And you're right, they weren't aggressive. They were tentative. Predator or prey.
Predator or prey. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be nobody's prey. I want to be the predator. I want to be the one who dictates what goes on out there on the court. And that is what Coach Payne is trying to continue to instill into his team as the season approaches, as the start of the season approaches. And you have Bellarmine coming in to the Yum Center Wednesday at 9 p.m. Now, also, outside of a couple of games that were actually played on the court, there was a big decision that was made in a room earlier this week, and that finally released the University of Louisville basketball program from the shackles of the NCAA that has been taking place over the past 6 years, 1,865 days, if I'm being correct, from the time the FBI first launched their investigation into Louisville and Adidas and whatever take place. And that was the IARP decision that came out earlier this week. Now, essentially what happened, if you don't know, let me refresh your brain because it's been so long. Louisville got into some trouble, and they were what is termed a repeat offender years ago when it came out that folks from Adidas and a couple of coaches on the University of Louisville staff at the time had paid Brian Bowen and his father roughly $500,000 or so or something like that to come to University of Louisville. Brian Bowen was a 5-star recruit, McDonald's All-American, first set to go to Michigan State, decided to change his mind. A couple of knucklehead coaches apparently on the University of Louisville staff allegedly paid his father a ton of money for him to come to Louisville. He enrolls into school. The leak comes out. He never plays a basketball game at the University of Louisville. Rick Pitino gets fired. Tom Jurich gets fired. The president resigns. And 5 years later, we're just now getting a final decision on that. Since that time, that 1,865 days, University of Louisville has had 4 basketball coaches. Rick Pitino, David Padgett, Chris Mack, and now Kenny Payne. They've had 3 athletic directors, Tom Jurich, Vince Tyree, and now Josh Hurd. Heck, they've even had 4 presidents. Ramsey, Bendapudi, or 3 presidents. And now interim president Gonzalez, and will probably have a 4th if she's in Postal. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, in Postal too, Jane. Oh, my. So this is what's been taking place. And not to mention having this dark cloud of not knowing what the punishment would be for this violation that took place when the current players on our team were in freaking middle school. like, if you're talking about, if you're a 19-year-old kid, and when this first launched, you were like 13 or 14, and now you're 19, you're a freshman or sophomore or whatever at the University of Louisville, and you're just now getting a decision. And you could have potentially been punished because of something that happened when you were 13 years old. You were in your home state of North Carolina or whatever. So that is why I am just glad. And not to mention, since those 5 years, 4 presidents, 4 ADs, 4 head coaches, there's been a number of changes in the NCAA. You've had a thing called NIL that's been enacted. NIL meaning players can get paid for their services at the university. Players can make money off their name, image, and likeness. Not just in college, but now in some states in high school. So rules have drastically changed, which is something that should have been enacted years ago. But nonetheless, I digress. Now you no longer have this dark cloud in this negative recruiting pitch that was taking place against the University of Louisville. Think about it. Over the last 5 years, because you never knew when the hammer was going to drop or if it would ever drop or how long this dark cloud would be hanging over your program, you had coaches from opposing schools. When you were going after a player and they were going after a player and they knew Louisville was going after a player, they would say, hey, man, why would you want to go there when you know that they get to get a tournament ban? They're going to lose scholarships. They're not going to be the same program. They have this dark cloud. You have a chance, especially if you're a one and done guy or a grad transfer, a guy that only has 1 year to play. Why would you want to go there when you know that you could be enrolled and you could be at the school and they won't even get a chance to go to the tournament? Or you can be enrolled and you can be in school and your wins or whatever could be vacated, or you can be enrolled and you can be in school and the hammer drops and you lose. Some people 5 years ago were calling for the death penalty of Univille's basketball program. That's how serious this stuff got. Don't believe me? Go Google it. Pat Forty right here in Louisville was calling for the University of Louisville to have the death penalty put on their basketball program for the number of sanctions that apparently was taking place back then. So this wasn't out of the realm of thinking that at one point could you lose your basketball program. And now for 5 years later, to just find out all it comes down to is a $5,000 fine for a kid that never actually played here. I don't even know if he ever set foot in the city of Louisville. Brian Bowen, paging Brian Bowen. Now he's in the G League somewhere. He never played at Louisville. He didn't get drafted, and so he means nothing to your program in the grand scheme of things ever. So I'm just glad that is finally over. We can finally put that chapter behind us and we can move on with the program, and we can move on knowing that there is no more sanctions, no more punishments, and no more anything coming back. Now, one thing I saw on social media, I continue to see on social media, and I'm right there with you guys. I just don't know when it's going to happen. First of all, it was also great to hear Rick Pitino say, hey, they officially vindicated Rick Pitino, said, hey, he had nothing to do with whatever was going on. We're putting it on former Coach Johnson. We're putting it on former Coach Fair. Those were the guys dealing with a couple of disgruntled or messed up employees for Adidas. Josh Hurd came out and said there's 10,000 people that work for Adidas. There was a couple of bad apples when you have 10,000 guys working with you. And folks are like, oh, are you going to cut off ties with Adidas? Let me let you guys in on something. Let me bring you into the world of money, right? Like all of this stuff, these college sports and all this stuff, it's all driven by, it's big business, like big business, right? And so just to let you know, because a lot of folks want Louisville to go to Nike because Kenny Payne has ties with Nike and Kenny Payne has ties with Jordan brand. And they want the red, just think about the red and black J's that go with the red and black Louisville uniforms. Think about all of that stuff. Folks really want that because it just fits right in with Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls fit. It ain't happening. Like I'm telling you, it's not happening. And here's why. Louisville has a big time contract with Adidas. Adidas pays Louisville $15 million a year, per year, to rock out their Adidas stuff, right? To rock their Adidas stuff. The next closest Nike school or Jordan brand school, it's like $8 million. Louisville gets essentially double what the next closest person does. And the reason why Adidas is willing to invest so much money into Louisville is because Adidas has lost a ton of schools. Michigan used to be Adidas, gone. Wisconsin used to be Adidas, gone. UCLA used to be Adidas, gone. All these schools left Adidas to go to Nike, to go to Jordan brand, to go to all these different places. And they're holding on to just a very few amount of schools. And so the few amount of schools that Adidas is holding on to, they're going to pay them a lot. And now with the Kanye stuff, Adidas really ain't giving up their big-time assets. They just lost their biggest asset in the entire history of the company in Kanye West, and you can feel how you feel about that. But because of losing Kanye, they're really not going to let go of Louisville. They're going to sign over a blank check to Josh Hurt. They're going to sign over a blank check to Kenny Payne to make sure those guys, and especially if they start bringing in some of these five-star guys that you plan on them bringing in, don't go anywhere. And Josh Hurt said so in so many words at his press conference. He was like, hey, we ain't blaming Adidas on that. Adidas keeps signing them checks. We're not blaming them. They have 10,000 employees were the exact words he used. 10,000 employees. And we're not going to let 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 of those 10,000 spoil this $15 million that we get every single year. so it ain't happening. So that is why, and Rick Pitino was feeling real good. They asked Rick, said, hey, would you come? Because the 2013 team is being commemorated later this year. They said, hey, Rick, would you come and rock out with us? Nah, dog. It's like, nah, it ain't happening. Only if y'all recognize Jurich. And that doesn't seem to be happening. We're going to take a quick break, and then after the break, we're going to Brian Brown. You're going to hear from Brian Brown, the defensive coordinator of the University of Louisville. But after this, you'll hear from Brian Brown. He'll talk about today's game. This was recorded yesterday, so you'll hear him talk about today's game and about some of the things that him and his family like to do right here in the city of Louisville. This is the 35KY Sports Show with Jeff Lightsy Jr. We'll be right back after this break.
Looking for a reliable cleaning service? Call AWS Cleaning. Searching for a trustworthy company to clean your business, Airbnb, and rental properties? Call AWS Cleaning. AWS has years of experience servicing Kentuckiana. We specialize in commercial floor cleaning, janitorial services, and much more. AWS is dedicated to meeting your cleaning expectations every opportunity. When choosing your cleaning provider, look no further than AWS. Call AWS Cleaning at 502-939-6588 for a free quote, and also follow them on Facebook. AWS, where we make the numbers work.
Nelson & Nelson Roofing and Handyman Service is a Christian-owned and operated, fully insured roofing company looking to help you put that perfect new roof on your home. With over 25 years of experience, they are offering $500 off right now for all new roof installs. Call them right now and let them know that Jeff sent you at 502-712-0876. That's 502-712-08. And welcome back to the 35KY Sports Show right here on 93.9 The Ville. I'm your host, Jeff Lightsy Jr. We just heard from the Migos, an unfortunate situation that took place with them down in Houston, so rest in peace to Takeoff. Moving forward, we were able to sit down and talk to Louisville defensive coordinator Brian Brown. He is gearing up for a big-time game against James Madison tonight right here in Louisville at Cardinal Stadium. Coach Brown is excited about the opportunity for him and his team to play. Here is my talk with Coach Brown, University of Louisville defense coordinator, about all things U of L football and a little personal about his own life. Let's take a listen. And joining me right here on the 35KY Sports Show is none other than defensive coordinator of the University of Louisville, Coach Brian Brown. Coach, how's it going?
Going great. Just trying to get ready and get prepared for these James Madison Dukes coming in town tomorrow, and so hopefully we can get us a win tomorrow and get ready to show the Cards fans what we got again this weekend.
I appreciate that. And what you guys have been showing for the better part of this year is some stellar defense. That I want to call it a historic performance against Wake Forest. Just when you're in the moment, when that's taking place, specifically talking about the third quarter, you as a defensive coordinator, you guys as a staff, what kind of is going through your mind when you're seeing all those turnovers back to back to back and a Cardinal party's happening literally on the field?
Man, the first thing I thought about was is nobody but God, letting that ball bounce our way, and the breaks are coming our way. And I actually told, one of a couple of our players early in the year, when we lost those close games, I was like, man, at some point, you just got to trust it. The ball is going to start bouncing our way. You just got to keep fighting, keep believing, keep working your tail off each and every day in practice, and it's going to start bouncing our way. And it has the last couple of weeks, man, and it's been a great thing to see. Our guys go out there and perform at their best and execute, at a high level. And to see the smiles on their faces, them having fun, that's the most gratifying thing as a coach for sure.
Now, Coach Brown, you're someone, like I said, that's the leader of that defense as far as on the coaching staff. You guys are currently on a winning streak, and the big part of that is because of your defense and the play that has happened. What's kind of changed from the early struggles of this year to now the success that you're having specifically on the defense during this winning streak?
We're getting turnovers. We were getting turnovers earlier in the year. And, even the games we lost, we got, 3 turnovers in one game and, 2 in another and some fourth down stops. But I think one thing is we're really playing complementary football, from on both sides of the ball. And, that's, when we're getting turnovers, our offense is scoring points, or our offense is not turning the football over, and when you're doing that, I think that helps your team win football games, but also it gives your kids more confident, hey, we can go out here and get this thing done. If we take care of the ball on offense and we start stopping people and getting more turnovers on defense and getting more sacks and more pressure, I think that helps. But the other thing, the kids they're executing, man. They're executing, and they've taken it upon themselves to, put it on their shoulders, that, hey, we have to do better as players as well. The coaches, we got to do our jobs to help put them in situations and be successful. But at the end of the day, those guys go out there and play the game, and they're having their own, meetings at times, calling on meetings, holding each other accountable on and off the football field. And I think that is a recipe for success, on the football field when you're doing that. And so it's exciting to see, the smiles on the guys' faces, them executing. And but I think those are the biggest things that have turned this whole team around, not just defensive, but just the team in general.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Brown, I want to ask you about a part of your defense that's one of the best in the country, and that's your pass rush. I remember Coach Satterfield talking in years previous about the lack of depth, specifically up front. But somehow, some way, you guys have been able to recruit, go out, get some ballers that are making plays in the backfield this year. Talk about your pass rush and how they've been able to be so successful this year, being amongst the highest in the country as far as sacks.
Well, I think, it starts with our coaching staff. I think Coach Ivey, our defensive line coach, Coach Greg Gasparotto, our outside linebacker coach, and Coach Derek Nicholson, part of the front that are helping getting sacks. They've done a tremendous job of teaching their guys, pass rush lanes, great stunts. They work on those all the time and every day in practice. But they've helped those guys, give them tools to be successful on the football field. And then it goes, of course, to the players. Those guys are put in a lot of work, this offseason. Some have went to some pass rush specialists, and got some tips from those guys that have played the game a long time and played in the NFL. So, they've done a tremendous job of wanting to get after the passer. Coach Ivey says it every year, we've been here is, hey, the sack record is, 50 plus, and that's what we're shooting for, and I think the guys, they really do want it. And if we can continue to get pressure on the quarterback, I think that will be in reach if we can, keep holding those guys in the back end as well, holding the receivers, making sure we're doing a great job in coverage so those guys can get sacks. And I always say it goes hand in hand, pressure dictates, coverage, and coverage dictates pressure. And we're doing both of those right now and have success. And hopefully we can continue that streak this weekend.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, I want to ask you about a specific player, Keitrell Clark. He missed most of last year due to an injury. He's coming back. He's having a great year. Just what has his impact been for your team as far as coming back from his injury and the impact he's been able to make this season?
Well, he's one of the best players on the football team. And when he's playing really well, we're playing really well on defense, and not putting a whole lot of pressure on him, but that's just the facts of it. When you have your corners, when they can lock some guys down on the outside, now that allows the pass rush that you were just talking about, Jeff, get there, and now those guys are able to pin the ears back and get after the quarterback. But he's been awesome. He's a great competitor. Been that way since we signed him and got him here from Liberty, and been starting basically since probably day 4, day 5 of fall camp, since he got here, over guys that have been here. But love his competitive nature, love his attitude, his effort, and it's great to see him have success, these last couple of weeks since he's had that knee injury, last year. And so hopefully he can continue that streak this week as well as the rest of the season of playing really good football.
Now, Coach Brown, you got a tough stretch, and you guys are currently on a winning streak, but you got a tough stretch starting Saturday against James Madison. What are some of the tough things that they present from a defensive perspective that you guys are looking to kind of shut down and hopefully have more success as you've been having during this win streak?
Well, they have a really athletic quarterback that can run and throw the football, and anytime you have that possesses a lot of problems for defenses. When you have an athletic quarterback that can also throw, so he does a great job. Todd, throws the ball really well. In the run game, he's awesome. And then they have some really solid backs. They have a really, really good running game. They're averaging, almost 190 plus, on the ground, each and every week. And so their offensive line is doing a heck of a job of opening up holes for those backs as well as the quarterback. And then they have some receivers. Eight is real as they get. He's a real speedster in the slot. 9, 0, 19. They have a plethora of receivers that could probably play in this league. And so I think they possess a talented group that can run the football as well as pass, so they're really, really balanced. And hopefully we can get those guys in some third down situations to where we can get after the passer, like we did this past week. And but you have to be able to win on first and second down. And if you can do that, get them in some third and longs, hopefully we can get off the field on third downs. We'll get some turnovers or some sacks.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Brown, I've asked you a lot about football, but I want to ask you about Brian Brown, the man. What is the day in the life of Coach Brown once he's away from the football field? What's the family like? What is your life like once you leave the facility and go home?
Oh man, I'm a God-fearing man that loves loves the Lord, and a guy that loves my family. I come from a huge family. My mom has 10 brothers and sisters, and thank God all of them are still living. And so that comes with a lot of cousins. And so I married my wife, met her at Ole Miss, and we have 2 young children, a little boy, a little girl. And when my time is away from football, from this office, I'm spending all my time with them. Whether it's watching my son play football or basketball, or going to my little girl's gymnastics or tumbling events, or watching her cheer. So I'm a family guy that just want to be around my family and just relax and chill and have a good time, watch some movies here or there. And but that's just me. I'm a down-to-earth person that loves a good man above and loves family and just loves having a good time.
Absolutely, Coach Brown. Now, we know in this profession, in the coaching profession, there's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs and things like that. And when things are going good like they are now, everybody's loving you, everybody's loving the team, everybody's loving Coach Satterfield. You guys get all the praise. But at times, whether it's earlier this season or in years past, there's chatter, right? Like there's negative things that are said about yourself and the team. Just how do you compartmentalize that? Do you listen to the noise? Do you use that as motivation? How does that work for you?
I don't get on the internet, so, so that's the one thing that I try to, especially during the season is, you can't listen to outside noise. Cause like you said, 1 minute they love you, 1 minute they hate you. And so, I try my best not to, get on the internet and listen to anything or hear anything, and just, keep my blinders on, and we just go to work each and every day. And I think that's one thing that our staff has done a tremendous job of, is just putting the blinders on. And I said it the other day in my interview, is we lean on the good Lord above, man, and we know that, he's not going to put us through anything that we can't bear. And so in order to do so, we just got to continue to work and believe in the things we believe in. And we can continue to do that and help these kids be successful on and off the football field. I think that's why the good Lord has put us in this position to be coaches, to be able to help these young men grow and fight through adversity, and help them become young men. And I think that's winning, as well. And of course, you got to win on the football field. We all know that. But we try to, block out the outside noise and just believe in what we believe in here in these walls, and not look at it. So some of the things people are telling me, I'm like, I didn't know that, but I don't listen to it. So, but it is what it is. We lean our faith on the good man above, man, and that's, don't worry about the outside noise. It is what it is. People say what they want to say, but we're going to be here in this building and working and putting our best foot forward each and every day. And as long as we do that, put our best foot forward, we'll live with the results.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Brown, I want to end it on something really, really nice. Like I said, outside of football, we talked a lot of football today, but outside of football, where's the place? Is there a go-to place that you have in Louisville? Like, what's like a favorite restaurant, your favorite thing to do in the city? Like, what is something like that? Maybe if you're going on a date night with the wife, like what is something like that kind of amuses you or amuses your wife that you have a good time with?
Well, we love, me and my wife, we're just some funny people. We love to laugh, but we love to go to comedy shows, whenever we can. We saw, Dave Chappelle, we went and saw him, and, we've seen, Mike Epps, as well, all those guys. And my wife, actually, she's going to the Kevin Hart concert tonight, his deal tonight. So we love to go to the Yum Center anytime there's a concert, whether it's, Patti LaBelle or, anybody, that's coming in town and singing a hip hop group or whatnot. We try to go to those things, but, we're just low key people, just try to go to as many restaurants as we can. We just don't have a typical favorite, because Louisville has so many different restaurants, that are just awesome, and so we enjoy our time here in Louisville. The community has embraced us, and we just love going out and having a good time.
Absolutely. Now, Coach Brown, this is my final question. Yeah. My final question. What does a successful rest of the season looks like, not just for yourself, but for the team and even for your defense?
I think just continue to be consistent. That's one thing we've shown over the last 3 weeks is, being consistent. You show one game where we didn't tackle well in the first half of Syracuse, played really well in the third quarter, and then had some short fields and gave us some touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Played really well in UCF, really dominant game. Then you come back and play really great against Florida State early on. And then not so great in the second half. So I say just consistency. We've shown, throughout the year early on, even with some struggles, that we can be a really, really dominant team and defensive as well. And if we can just stay consistent and just continue to chop that wood, at the end of the day, that tree's going to fall down. And if we can continue to be consistent, the chips will fall where they may. And, we want to win each and every game that we, play in. We just want to be consistent in those games. And if we can do that, we'll live with the results. And that'll be a gratifying thing for us to stay consistent, play hard, continue to get turnovers and to continue to get sacks and come out with wins.
Absolutely. Once again, this is Coach Brian Brown, defensive coordinator at the University of Louisville. Coach, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day for speaking with us. And good luck to you against James Madison the rest of the season.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
And that was Coach Brian Brown, the defense coordinator of the University of Louisville. And one thing I could say about Coach Brown is he was real cheesy on the other side of that screen. He was really feeling really good because his defense is playing really, really well, and the team is playing really, really well. And I asked Coach Brown just about, does he listen to the noise? Because if you are the noise like me and some of the other fans, a lot of people was calling for his job. Not just throughout the tenure of Coach Scott Satterfield, but but specifically earlier this year when you give up 31 points to Syracuse in a 31-7 loss, even though most of that was on the offense. And then when you give up 35 points to a Boston College and you couldn't seem to stop the 3 plays that they ran the entire game. And so that's why now his team is one of the best his side of the ball is one of the best at creating sacks. They're at the top of the nation in sacks per game. You saw that 8 turnovers forced, including 3 interceptions, a couple of pick sixes, a whole bunch of fumbles being forced against Wake Forest, including 6 in the third quarter alone. Coach Brown's side of the ball, his unit is playing out of control. They're really the best part of the team right now. And for a lot of people and for a long time, that was not the case. And the fact that they are the best part of the team right now, guys like Keitrell Clark coming back from injury, Monty Montgomery playing better after coming back from injury, that is helping that unit tremendously. Yasir Abdullah, Yaya Diaby, all those guys getting after the quarterback, that has been awesome. And not to mention, this team is now 1 game away from being bowl eligible. They're 5-3 coming into this James Madison game, a team that is just in their first year making a transition from FCS to FBS. And Louisville, if they get a win, will be 6-3 and bowl eligible. We'll probably be heading back to a bowl game before they take on their toughest 3-game stretch of the year against NC State, Clemson, and Kentucky. So that is major. That is major for this team. That is major for what they're doing. And it's going to be awesome to see. We're going to take one more break. After the break, we're going to come in, talk a little high school football, and I'm going to give my thoughts on what's taking place in the NBA. Once again, you're listening to the 35 KY Sports Show with Jeff Lightsy Jr. right here on 93.9 The Ville.
Looking for a reliable cleaning service? Call AWS Cleaning. Searching for a trustworthy company to clean your business, Airbnb and rental properties? Call AWS Cleaning. AWS has years of experience servicing Kentuckiana. We specialize in commercial floor cleaning, janitorial services, and much more. AWS is dedicated to meeting your cleaning expectations every opportunity. When choosing your cleaning provider, look no further than AWS. Call AWS Cleaning at 502-939-6588 for a free quote, and also follow them on Facebook. AWS, where we make the numbers work.
Nelson & Nelson Roofing and Handyman Service is a Christian-owned and operated, fully insured roofing company looking to help you put that perfect new roof on your home. With over 25 years of experience, they are offering $500 off right now for all new roof installs. Call them right now and let them know that Jeff sent you at 502-712-0876. That's 502-712-0876.
You know, young rich, you know, so we ain't really never had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though.
If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
Hey! Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking, the hot box. Cooking on your bitch, yeah, dot. Cooking up in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something. Hey! I don't trust nobody, grip the trick. Nobody call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. It's bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless.
You're tuned in to Louisville's #1 urban sports talk radio show, the 35 KY Sports Show with Jeff Lightsy Jr. right here on 93.9 The Ville.
And welcome back to 35 KY Sports Show with myself, Jeff Lightsy Jr., right here on 93.9 The Ville. We got Jeff Houston in the booth, Murph and James Black behind the board, and this segment is brought to you by AWS Cleaning. AWS Cleaning, where we make the numbers work. Now, Jeff and Murph, I got a question for you guys. Last week there was a big-time boxing match between Anderson Silva and none other than world-renowned boxer Jake Paul, right? So Jake Paul, it's looking like he's paying these guys to take a dive. How much would it take for you guys to get knocked out by Jake Paul?
I say give me a quick 10 mil. I'll take 10 mil. Go ahead and get knocked out in the first round.
You expensive. Like you
know the type of numbers on pay-per-views do, bro.
Yeah,
like, I mean, matter of fact, go ahead and give me 16.
16 million? That ain't what Anderson Silva got. I can tell you that.
My worth a little bit more than Anderson.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I was like, you expensive.
It ain't gonna take that much from me. I'll tell you that right now. I'm saying a couple $100,000.
That's what Anderson said. That's what he was.
Hey, you better negotiate back down. You start high, man. Start high and come low.
Well, Anderson Silva, he got paid $500,000 base, right? And then they gave him 35% of the pay-per-view buys. And so, say if they sold 1 million pay-per-view buys, I mean, Anderson Silva probably walked out of there with like $1 million or so, you know, just to take a couple of punches from Jake Paul, have a little sparring match, a little phantom punch that knocked him out or whatever, the one that didn't hit him, okay? But that's what takes place when you fight against a guy like Jake Paul. So I thought that was pretty interesting. We got some high school sports that'll take place this weekend. High school playoff football between some of our local schools. Male, because of their rough season throughout the year and rough play, they will play St. X in the second round at St. X. But don't worry, Bulldogs. We got this. We got our players back. Daniel Sweeney, you heard the way he was talking. They got a big win in their first round. They'll take on the defending state 6A champions, the St. Xavier Tigers, who are looking to repeat as 6A champions. Manual will travel to Bullitt East on the road. Manual sporting 9 wins on the year, looking to get their 10th win of the season, while Ballard is already at 9 wins as well. They will play at home against Ryle, and Trinity will travel to Simon Kenton. Trinity having a 7-4 year, kind of a down year for them, but they're looking to continue to show that they are the supreme king of the 6A division. In 5A, Atherton will travel to Fairdale, and Seneca will go out to South Odom. And then in 3A, sporting an undefeated 11-0 record, Cal and all those guys from U of L, the coaches, there it is, will take their undefeated 11-0 record to, well, they'll be at home. They will host E-Town in the second round of the playoffs. We just got a few minutes left, and I just wanted to touch on one thing in the NBA that's taken place. The Brooklyn Nets have suspended Kyrie Irving for a minimum, now this is a minimum, of 5 games after he decided for a long time he didn't want to apologize for making what they say are anti-Semitic, well, not really comments, mainly because he posted a link. So if you live under a rock, you don't understand what's taking place. Kyrie Irving tweeted a link to a documentary. It was called Hebrews to Negroes, and a lot of folks in different communities are saying that the documentary is anti-Semitic. It's a documentary attached to a book, and I can't speak on the documentary because I've never seen it. I've never read the book. I don't know what's in it, so I'd be ignorant if I said, oh, I know exactly what's taking place. But apparently there's some quotes attributed to Hitler, and obviously and some other different things that just have been proven to not be true. And so if that's the case, hey, that's understandable for maybe somebody to be upset about the documentary. The problem is the same energy isn't being shown to the distributor of the documentary. I'm not saying that you can't, you shouldn't be mad at Kyrie Irving. What he did wasn't smart or not smart. But the energy that you're showing towards Kyrie Irving, someone who didn't write the documentary, someone who wasn't in the documentary, someone who didn't star in the documentary, someone who's not profiting off the documentary, you should have that same energy and have that same smoke towards the person or the people who are distributing said documentary. And that distributor happens to be none other than one of the biggest distributors in the entire world. That is Jeff Bezos and Amazon. So if you are the Brooklyn Nets or you are of a certain community and you take issue with what Kyrie Irving did, he never said anything too. He tweeted the link and had no context. He didn't say go watch it. He didn't say this is awesome. He didn't say anything. He just tweeted a blind link. Now, whether you think that was smart or not, I don't know. But if you're going to have all that smoke for Kyrie Irving, and so listen to some of these. So they suspended him for a minimum of 5 games, but they reportedly they have a lot of stipulations that he has to, a lot of hurdles he's got to jump through before he can even play a game. And I'm going to read to you some of the hurdles according to the reports that are out there. some of the hurdles. These are the reports, and I don't know if they're true or not, but these are the reports that are coming out. It says he must make a public statement recognizing the film as anti-Semitic, apologize for supporting the film and falsehoods within it. Well, see, and I have a problem with that because he didn't ever support the film. He didn't ever claim that the film is all true. He just tweeted a link, so I don't like that. A training session on the dangers of hate speech. That's pretty wild. And then meet with this is the one that took the cake. Meet with Brooklyn Jewish leaders. I don't know, guys. He apologized even though I don't know what it is like to have a half-hearted apology or whatever, but he apologized, and now to make him jump through all these hoops seem a bit extreme to me. So, hey, you let me know what you think. Once again, this is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the 3-5-KY Sports Show right here on 93.9 The Ville. Thank you to our sponsors, AWS Cleaning and Nelson & Nelson Roofing. And shout out to you guys for tuning in. We're here every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Be sure to catch us next week right here on 93.9 The Ville. And as always, we will see you next time.